Hey guys, Evgeny here at Development Digital, and today I've got something interesting. It's probably not what you're used to, but probably something that will be very important if you're used to running your CMS-based projects as well as e-commerce projects on Webflow. Now, this video is going to be all about implementing regular expressions or regex in Webflow using CSS. For those of you who do not know what regex is, it's a JavaScript feature that is targeting specific text strings, and it's mostly used for validating input fields, but it has other use cases as well. With that being said, there's something similar in CSS, as surprising that might sound. So let me just get straight into it. These are the ways that you can actually target specific strings within CSS. So if you don't know what this attribute does, the first one at least, it targets specific string within a class in any place at all. So what the star means that this string of text can be anywhere. For example, new. New is a string of text that exists within a class, so we are targeting a class that has new in it at any point in time. There is the second one, which is targeting a string with which the class ends. So for example, if we have prioritize, which we do have in this project, we're targeting a class that ends with the string prioritize. Hope that makes sense. So star means any place within the class, $ means end of the class. And what do you think the upper tick means? Well, it means just that. You can target a class that starts with a string card. And I'm using these examples because, well, that's exactly what we are going to be having within this specific project. Without further ado, let me actually show you exactly how we did this. First things first, a demonstration is needed within the CMS. So all of these cards have a class card applied. And this the string with which we have to start each class. So let's say that this one is a bestseller, right? The second card is going to be, let's say it's going to be new, right? The third card, well, we can say that we want to say that it's a bestseller and we want to have it in the beginning of the whole list. And this one might be new, but it's also out of stock, right? And what if this one is just out of stock? It's not new, it's not bestseller, it's just out of stock. And what if it's out of stock, but we also want to prioritize it? All right. So now we can see that these are going to change completely. We have our bestseller that is prioritized. We have another bestseller that is prioritized. We have a new that is out of stock. We have just out of stock. And we have a new item. Basically exactly what we did. So how do we actually explain how this works? If you go into custom code, you'll find that we have lines from 105 up to 140, but I'll be explaining up to line 121. So we have a div with a class that starts with a string card, and we are, well, basically we are just giving it some styles. Then in the same div that starts with card and has a new somewhere in it, we are giving the image wrap within that specific div block, a background image, which you'll see that it's this blue tag that says new. If it's a bestseller, we're just changing the background color like so. And if it's a div that's a card and has a class out, what we're doing is we're turning on the filter to grayscale, reducing opacity and adding pointer events none. I don't think we need this line at all because you cannot hover when it has a pointer events none. Now, how do we add prioritization? Well, you'll see that these div blocks are nested within the collection item. Collection item that has a div block with a class card and a class string prioritized at the end. We are making sure that the order of that is -1, so it jumps to the first place. And we are doing this way because the whole thing is made as a flex box. You can also change it to be grid, but you'll need different code for this. But what if the actual item is out of stock? Well, usually what we would do is we would also add a not, and then we would say class out, and then this would be totally fine. Besides the fact that you cannot actually nest a not within the has pseudo-class, so we needed to actually create a completely separate selector. So collection item that has a div with a class starting with a string card and has an out somewhere within the class. For that, we're just adding an order initial, but you can also just say 999 so that it jumps to the end of the actual order. Lastly, we're adding some hover states and some responsiveness. Just to give you more context in terms of the structure, you'll obviously be able to take a look yourself in the clonable, but we have a container is regex with flex that is wrapping. So the items are wrapping to the next row. We have a collection item inside of which we have a div with an attribute class, and this is pulling from the CMS. Inside of which, well, we just have a bunch of things. But this is actually all you technically need to know in order to figure out how this works. I hope that helps and that you learned something new. And I hope that you have a lovely day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.